dishonored my name, and
But he's still your son.
No, listen. I know he's my son. I'm not cutting him off for forever. I just haven't talked to him. Everybody was wrong, but none of this ever would have happened if Psycho Stu never hit my son on the back of the head with a can that they was drinking beer out of, and then grabbed him by the neck, asked him to sell it. And people automatically assume that I'm going to defend my son, and I'm going to like try to pay people off and get them out of trouble. I'm just as mad as Roger as they are.
Are you surprised nothing has happened to him? Are you surprised there haven't been any arrests, any charges, anything like that?
No. They can't and they won't make an arrest until Psycho Stu says that wasn't planned.
Rampage Jackson has completely broken down the incident of his son, Roger Jackson, nearly killing a pro wrestler inside the ring last week. Rampage is angry at his son and the people blaming him, but as a father, he still backs his son.
Roger know nothing like that. I'm not taking up for my son. Any man that beats somebody like that in the ring, they should face some consequences. But I don't take kindly to people calling my son like a caged animal and say he don't got no undeveloped frontal lobe and stuff like that. I don't take that kindly, because anybody in a race can explode when they're pushed. Anybody.
Rampage Jackson believes his son deserves some jail time to reflect on his actions, along with community service, anger management, and therapy. However, he rejects the idea that Raja attempted murder, insisting his son was never trying to kill anyone. Rampage said he knows his son well enough to be certain of that, explaining Raja probably didn't even realize how badly he hurt the wrestler in the moment.
All that, Raja, I think that he should do a little time, do a little community service, and go to anger management class, see some therapy.
But that goes like some people said it was attempted murder and things like that. That's not a little time.
It wasn't attempted murder because he wasn't trying to kill that guy.
How do you know?
Because that's my son. I know my son. Roger wasn't trying to kill nobody. He wasn't trying to kill that guy. Roger probably didn't even know how bad he hurt that guy. He wasn't trying to kill that guy.
Rampage Jackson argues that the entire situation is being blown out of proportion, with many people wrongly believing Raja snuck into the ring. He explains that his son was put in there as if he were a pro wrestler, even though he had no business being in that role, and blames the promoters for the decision. Rampage makes it clear that while mistakes were made, there was never any attempt at murder.
The problem is everything got blown out of proportion, and people thought that Roger snuck into the ring and did that. That's what the problem is. Like, at this point, Roger was in the act as a pro wrestler, but he ain't no pro wrestler. The promoters had no reason putting my son in the ring, but it was no attempted murder.
Rampage Jackson says he's frustrated with Psycho Stu for staying silent after the incident with Roger Jackson. He believes Psycho Stu should have taken some responsibility, stressing that the whole situation could have been avoided if Psycho Stu had not struck his son in the back of the head with a can.
And I wanted Psycho Stu to tell his part that my son did not sneak up on him, and I never heard him say that. So now I'm upset. Now I'm upset. Now I'm upset with Psycho Stu because he didn't come out and say, "Oh, whoa, yeah, what Roger did was," but he didn't sneak in the ring and do this. It was staged. That's all he had to say to get some of these racist ass out of my DMs. Hey, he's seeing all eyes blew up and stuff like that. He should at least said something.
Okay.
Take some accountability. Like, honestly, everybody was wrong. Roger was the most wrong. Everybody was wrong, but none of this ever would have happened if Psycho Stu never hit my son on the back of the head with a can that they were drinking beer out of, and then grabbed him by the neck, asked him to sell it. If that never happened, none of this never happened.
Rampage Jackson also revealed he hasn't spoken to his son since the incident, admitting he doesn't know how Roger's doing. He explained that while he did speak to him briefly right after the fight, he later learned more details that left him disappointed. Rampage said Roger disobeyed him by hiding the fact that he was getting involved in a pro wrestling match, something he was never supposed to do. According to Rampage, Roger is a fighter, not a wrestler, and had no business being in that ring. He acknowledged that his son went too far and stressed that Roger knew better, even noting he had already grounded him from training for 2 weeks before this ever happened.
I haven't heard or seen Raja since the incident. How is he doing?
I don't know. I don't talk to Roger no more. So I don't know. I won't
Since
talk
then?
to him. I talked to him. I heard his story, and I heard some of the stuff. And then after that, I learned a whole lot of stuff and about it and everything. Roger's wrong. He went against what I told him to do, and he hid the fact that he got roped into a pro wrestling story. Roger's not a pro wrestler. He's a fighter. He's not a pro wrestler. He had no business in that ring. Everybody there was wrong. And yes, my son took it too far, but he knows better. He knows he's wrong for getting involved in a pro wrestling match.
Rampage Jackson also admitted that even with all his frustration, he still loves his son. He said Raja is most likely at home while the family waits for an arrest warrant, explaining that he was prepared even to turn his son himself in. Rampage made it clear that despite being upset, he still has a duty as a father to care for him. He admitted Raja stopped listening once he became an adult, but stressed he would always keep it real with him, never lie, and always give his honest opinion no matter how hard the truth is.
Do you know where he is now?
Most likely he's at home. We've been waiting for arrest warrant. As soon as we get arrest warrant, I was going to turn him in. We've been waiting for arrest warrant or whatever. And I got him a turn. I did what my job is as a father to still take care of my son, because I still love him. Even though how upset I am at my son, I still love him. You know what I'm saying? He's my son, but ever since he's become an adult, he don't listen to say, and all I can do is like be a father. But Roger know I keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna lie for him and nothing like that. And he knows that I'm gonna give him my opinion.
Rampage Jackson revealed that he has not spoken to his son because he's upset about how his family name had been dishonored. Ariel Helwani questioned him on the decision, pointing out that if Rampage is truly concerned about his son's well-being, cutting off communication might not be the right move. Helwani said that in his own case, even if his son did something terrible, he would still try to support him through it. Rampage clarified that he's not disowning his son permanently, but admitted he had chosen not to speak to him in the immediate aftermath.
Are you at all worried about his well-being?
Yeah, it's my son. I am worried about his well-being. How many kids you got?
I got 3.
All right, so why you asking me some stupid ass?
Well, can I be real with you?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would feel like to see my son do that. I also don't think I would cut my son off if he did that. So if you are worried about his well-being, why are you not talking to him?
Because he dishonored my name. And
but he's still your son.
No, listen. I know he's my son. I'm not cutting him off forever. I just haven't talked to him.
Ariel Helwani urged Rampage Jackson to stand by his son, reminding him that this was likely the lowest point of Raja's life and the time when a father's support mattered most. Rampage admitted he had spoken to him right after the incident, but said Raja had lied and had put even other kids in danger, which made it impossible for him to keep contact. He stressed that he wasn't cutting ties forever, but needed distance to process everything while dealing with lawyers and the fallout. Rampage confessed he was heartbroken and disappointed, saying he didn't know how a parent was supposed to react when their child put a man in the hospital.
But this is the worst moment of his life. He needs you now more than ever.
No, listen, I talked to him after the shit happened, and he hid the fact that he did this shit, and he put my other kids at danger. I just can't talk to him right now. I just can't. I'm not saying I'm never going to talk to him again. I just can't talk to him right now. I need some time. I'm dealing with his attorneys and all this shit. But I'm very disappointed in Roger. Like, yeah, I'm not a perfect parent, so I don't know what's the protocol to how much time you stop from talking to your son when he goes out there and hurt somebody. He put a guy in the hospital.
Rampage Jackson believes the promoter played a role by changing the music for Raja's entrance and reportedly telling him to rough up Psycho Stu. He noted that AJ Min seemed to be the only one with common sense, advising Raja to just throw a single punch, and wished he had personally been contacted but admitted he was unavailable at the time. Rampage Jackson also questioned why it took so long for others to step in and pull Raja off, pointing out that his son kept attacking until someone finally intervened.
When he gets in the ring, go back and watch this shit. They put the music on for him. They changed the music for him, bro.
Okay.
the promoter told him to up. And I think AJ Mann is the only one that had a little common sense and tell Roger, like, look, remember what a receipt is. You just pop them one time. AJ Mann was the only one that had like a little common sense right then. I wish he would have called me, but I was on the ground in New York, so it probably wouldn't have went through. Bro, they changed the music when my son get in the ring. Bro. But no, this is the thing though. What took them so long? Cause they said, all right, you punch him until we pull you off. What took his other friends, his team, whatever, so long to get in there and get Roger off of him?
Rampage Jackson shared his final thoughts on the situation, saying Raja should never have been in the ring at all. He claimed Psycho Stu had a pattern of drunken incidents backstage that everyone overlooked, with AJ Mana being one of the few who pointed it out. Rampage admitted he was frustrated with his son, but insisted his loyalty would always stay with family. He also questioned why it took so long for others to pull Raja off, calling for investigators to examine Stu's past behavior and the role it may have played in how things unfolded.
This is gonna be the last time I talk about this. This ain't the first time Psycho Stu done some shit backstage. He'll be drinking all the goddamn time, and he plays that pro wrestling saved me from this PTSD and stuff, like nobody want to fire his ass, but AJ Mana told me everything. This ain't the first time he done some drunken shit backstage, so they know his ass. They ain't gonna snitch on him. I don't owe them, none of them, no loyalty. My loyalty to my son, and even though I don't, son right now, I'm still gonna keep it 100 and be loyal. The police need to investigate that. How many times Psycho Stu attack somebody backstage and people off being drunk? Then you guys will figure out what took so long for them pro wrestlers to get in that ring and pull my son off of them. Investigate that shit.
On the other hand, referee Big John McCarty puts full responsibility on Raja Jackson. He says he feels for Rampage as a father, but points out that no parent can control every decision. McCarty explains that young men often make reckless choices that change the course of their lives, and Raja's actions were one of those moments.
Look, at this all comes back to one person. Let's put the blame where it belongs, and it belongs on Raja Jackson. And as much as I love Quentin and I hate for him to have to go through this as a father, you cannot be there at all times. And your son is young. I have, my sons are all grown up, but there's times when they're going to go do something. You're saying, hey, don't do something stupid that's going to alter your life. Okay, be smart. And I used to say that line all the time because young men do stupid things, and those stupid things can alter your life forever. And unfortunately, Raja went and did a stupid thing.
John McCarty says Raja Jackson's actions went far beyond a normal assault, describing the repeated punches on an unconscious opponent as attempted murder territory. He explained that prosecutors could easily pursue attempted murder charges, with a plea deal possibly reducing it to aggravated assault. McCarty emphasizes that while pro wrestling involves physical contact, no one ever agrees to being attacked while unconscious.
When he jumped on an unconscious person and then started throwing punches, 22 unanswered blows, okay, you're talking about attempted murder. You're not talking about battery. You're not talking about assault. You're not talking about aggravated assault. He'll be lucky. They're going to put that thing up at attempted murder. And he'll be lucky if he pleads out that they'll bring it down to something like aggravated assault, because that's where it's headed. And I hate to say that, but I've seen it in the past, and Raja stepped so far into it with what he did. And it was so, this is one person attacking another person. Yeah, it was in a pro wrestling ring. And yeah, Psycho Stu knew that he was going to come in, and yeah, he knew he was going to get slammed. He didn't know someone was going to waylay him for 22 shots while he was unconscious.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen addressed the backlash he received after commenting on Raja Jackson incident. He said people were furious accusing him of defending Raja and excusing the attack. Sonnen clarified that this was never the case. He never suggested Raja's actions were acceptable. Instead, he explained that his analysis came strictly from a legal standpoint. In his view, the incident was clearly a crime and could even qualify as attempted murder if proven to be premeditated. However, his focus was on why the authorities hadn't taken action yet, not for defending Raja or his motives.
Errol, they were very upset, and they were upset that I would be so disgusting as to defend Raja Jackson and to make an argument that what Raja did was okay. The problem was, I don't think any of those things, and I didn't say anything remotely close to that. I tackled this from the same perspective both times, which is the legal perspective. You have this crime. You have a clear assault that might even be attempted murder if you believe it to be premeditated. The authorities are in possession of what you've already deemed is disgusting, horrifying, and criminal, but they haven't taken action. And I explained in both videos why they hadn't taken action. I never even touched on Raja, why he did it, Psycho Stu, what happened to him, never touched it. Came purely from a legal perspective.
Chael Sonnen went on to explain his perspective further. He compared the situation to calling the police from a payphone. If something reported witnessing an assault, the accused would likely be handcuffed immediately. Yet in this case, he noted, the authorities had video evidence in their possession and still hadn't even confirmed an investigation. Sonnen argued that because it happened in a pro wrestling setting, charges could only move forward if Psycho Stu himself pressed them. He found that detail especially interesting, stressing that his point was never about defending Raja Jackson, but about the legal process.
If I would go to 7-Eleven to a payphone and dine you out, I make a call and I say that I saw you doing that to somebody, you would have been placed in handcuffs. They're a step further in this jurisdiction. They have the tape. They've seen it with their own eyes. They have not even commented that they are investigating it. The whole thing is pro wrestling unless Psycho Stu asks them to take charges. And that is the part that I find interesting. It's all that I ever said. And all the heat came back as though that was a defense of Raja, but it doesn't even include Raja's name for that matter.
Chael Sonnen says he isn't surprised that Raja Jackson hasn't been arrested yet. He explains that no charges can move forward unless Psycho Stu himself declares the attack wasn't part of the performance. Sonnen points out that every wrestler on the card that night promises to beat up their opponent, slams them to the mat, and throws strikes. It's all part of the show. The difference, he argues, is that Raja appears to stop performing and instead tries actually to injure his opponent. That, Sonnen says, is the line between entertainment and a crime.
Are you surprised nothing has happened to him? Are you surprised there haven't been any arrests, any charges, anything like that?
No. They can't and they won't make an arrest until Psycho Stu says that wasn't planned. Everybody on the card that night said before the match they're going to beat the hell out of their opponent. Everybody on the card that night, winners and losers, hit their opponent. Everyone on the card that night picked their opponent up, threw him to the ground. The difference was they were performing. What was in their heart was different. It appeared that Raja stopped performing and started to try to injure a man. And that is the difference between the show and a crime. But when I say that's what it appears, only Stu gets to stay. The rest of us are marks. Only Psycho Stu gets to say that, and he has up to 12 months.
However, Doug Mallow confirms that the investigation into Raja Jackson is active and says an arrest is coming soon. He explains the detectives told him Raja would be arrested in the next few days, since the footage clearly shows premeditation. Mallow adds that while the LAPD usually moves slowly, this case is centered only on Raja. He says the detective is collecting extra video evidence to strengthen the case.
Doug, you've been talking to detectives, so what can you tell us from those conversations that you've had? Any updates? Will Raja Jackson be arrested from what you're hearing?
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. Everything's on tape, on video. It's premeditated. Just LAPD tends to drag their feet. So the detective asked me a bunch of questions. I even asked about my implications, just because it's, you're involved and whatnot. And he goes, no, there's nothing to worry about. Like, you're just trying to get compliance. Everything was towards Raja. He asked a couple other questions about the other videos involved with the people in the back and this and that. Not for implications, just because he's just trying to get information. He's building a solid case.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen says he has a feeling Psycho Stu might drag things out, but stresses that police aren't going to make an arrest just because there's a video. He explains that the footage is from a pro wrestling match, and the audience doesn't get to decide what's real and what's not. Their only job is to be entertained and fooled. According to Sonnen, the only voice that matters is Stu's, and so far, he has stayed silent.
I have a feeling he might drag this on, but they're not going to go just arrest him because they have a video of a pro wrestling match, and the audience doesn't get to decide what's real and what's not. The audience job is to be entertained and constantly fooled. So they don't actually get to say how bad this was. Only one person does, and that's Stu, and so far, he's remained silent.
Chael Sonnen explained why Psycho Stu might delay taking action. He thinks Psycho feels stuck between protecting the wrestling business and protecting himself. He points out that Stu hasn't gone to the police yet, since doing so could damage his image as a legitimate tough guy, while staying silent leaves the door open for a possible rematch because Raja never pinned him. Chael also notes that promotions carry million-dollar insurance policies, so Stu could quickly secure a payout if he went the legal route, but he is now to choose between the money and preserving his wrestling character.
Why do you think he might drag it out?
Well, Stu isn't. I spoke to Stu.
Really?
People
Okay.
People love Stu, back and forth. And he believes that if he doesn't protect the business, that he's hurting the business. He also believes if he goes to the police, he gives up his character as a legitimate bad. Meanwhile, if he takes that beating, don't forget he wasn't covered. It's not like Raja beat him. Raja never covered. There was no 1, 2, 3, and Stu could ask for rematches. He could spend that. He could turn that into something. Now, what do you want to do? They have $1 million insurance policy. I have to carry this exact same insurance because I'm a promoter here in Oregon. And believe me, that settlement would be done quickly and for all $1 million. But Stu's going to have to juxtapose taking that money and going down the legal route against the character and the brand of wrestling.
That wraps up today's video. Share your thoughts about Rampage Jackson's statement in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates.